Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nova Wars. I unmute for Mr. Black. It is Thursday, November the, what is this, 27th, I think, all day today, 2025. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us today. We got another great show lined up for you as always, keeping you busy to work, from work, and everywhere in between. Damn, we got a lot of shit. We got blown up for the comments this week, and we're getting blown up immediately by Major with a €40 super chat.
Damn.
Right off the top. Wasted no time. Thank you, Major. Bless. We were playing
I don't even have the chat open.
We have some Battlefield. Major and I were playing some Battlefield together the other day, which meant really what that meant is he just had to listen to me fucking scream into a microphone for a good 5 hours. Is what that was. We get on over here. Oh my goodness, and Beef Nugs on the other side gifting 50? Are there even 50 people that show up to watch it on Twitch live these days? Actually, I think there are somewhere between 30 and 50 in that neighborhood. Bless! Thank you, Beef Nugs.
Thank you,
Holy
man.
shit. All right, we got it hitting on both sides. Bless. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Starting
Thank you,
off
guys.
big.
Wow.
Starting off the American Thanksgiving weekend, in style. Yeah, great show lined up for you as always. But before we get into it, most important question of the week, Mr. Black, how's your week?
Yeah, it's been
Busy?
a week. I got I was away in Vegas last week. So yeah, I came back on. Well, shit, it's Thursday now. So yeah, I came back Friday last week.
Yep.
And I think because there was like a 4-hour jet lag and I didn't stay there super long, like it took me like a solid 3 days to just get back to not feeling off.
You yo-yoed.
Yeah, my body was like, what's going on? Yeah, I was just jet lagged, tired. I think I got some kind of like cold or something, or some kind of that my body was fighting. Didn't last long, but I just rested a lot. But yeah, busy as fuck. Basically been streaming and then getting properties ready for the winter. So cleaning hallways, getting salt and shit ready, and making sure all the plow guys are ready to go. And yeah, there was this big leak at a property, so we had to take care of that. That's all remedied. Just a whole bunch of small shit, and then I'm gonna try and get all my Christmas shopping done today. So after this and into tomorrow. So there's sales going on in the stores, and then obviously Black Friday, like Amazon and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try and just get it all done, or at least like 90% of it. I don't know what Dad wants, so I kind of have to wait for that. But gonna try and get the vast majority, because bro, you ain't catching me in a mall inside of December.
It's
Just
already
ain't
crazy now. I don't even want to know what it's like in December. Like, it's already bonkers now.
So today, tomorrow, this is as far as it goes when it comes to going into the mall until the new year. And well into the new year, we're talking like, probably February by the time you'll see my black ass in a mall, because then even after Christmas, everybody's got gift cards and everything else and returning shit. And it's just, then they have other sales. Like, it's just nightmare fuel. I was pretty good about it last year. Last year, I got a lot of my stuff done in the first week of December. But of course, I always like forget a couple of people or something, last minute this, last minute that. So, I was still in a mall the week of Christmas last year, and I told myself I ain't doing it again. So that's what I'm going to be doing. after the podcast today. And outside of that, it's just been another week. That's been my
Beautiful.
week.
Beautiful. Yeah, we have an out, M and I, this year, of course, is that nobody is expecting us to be giving out gifts this year because we are prepping for the baby. And so I don't have to, luckily I don't have to be in a mall. I'm just going to buy some cards, like Merry Christmas. That's the show. That's as deep as it gets this year. Shit, it might be that next year. They might be waiting 2 calendar years to get back into the Christmas present receiving from us, but yeah, I mean, I've been in and out for other things, like, well, coincidentally, like, the girls at the ward always do like not necessarily a secret Santa, but they all put like little bits together for like gift baskets for each other because Lord knows the hospital ain't giving them anything. So they kind of pitch in themselves and they kind of like give each other like little gifts and stuff so that they can all have something, for all their coworkers. And so we've been into the malls and stuff for that. And then, we've been living inside of HomeSense for a hot minute as she's been obviously finding various things that she would like to have around the house. But thankfully, most of that's all done. Like we've got like basically everything now. It's that we need. Excuse me, for delivery time, and for like the first probably 4 or 5 months. We've got clothes, we've got her hospital bag all set up. We've got like the stuff to at home for like after the birth for her, so the cooling pads and the whatever else we might need, because we don't know if she's going to be able to do it naturally or if it's going to have to be through C-section, because we don't know if he's going to be in the right position, and even if he is he too big to that's going to take too long and they're going to be asking her if she wants to do a C-section. So we've got her care plan that we're going to write out or whatever to hand to the staff when we're at the hospital, so that they know the answers to questions that they would typically have anyway. Are you going to be open to having painkillers, and are you going to be et cetera, et cetera? Are you going to clear this, that, and the other thing when the baby's born? Like, M wants them to wait a little bit longer than usual for the umbilical cord to be cut, so that all of the blood that's from the umbilical cord has time to go into the baby before they separate it. Things like that, like a whole care plan or whatnot. It's just like a 1-page document thing. So things like that, we're just did like the little piddly things, and then everything else is pretty set up. I mean, I finished the nursery like 3 weeks ago. I've been stocking it full of books. Lots of good books, to read Baby Boy upon arrival. We're already reading now, like every night before bed. I've got like a book done by Richard Scarry, who you might not know who that is, but if you saw the books, you'd probably recognize them, especially in Canada. He's been doing children's books since you and I have been born, basically. And so it's a collection of his works. They're like 5-minute stories, so perfect for this kind of thing where you're just like, just trying to get baby used to your voice, and then when baby's out, they got no attention span, so 5 minutes perfect. So we got a little book of that. So I've been reading those things, and yeah, it's just been more of that. That's been in my week. We're just, it's mostly prepping for baby, and then I wrote my exam. That's happened since the last podcast. So wrote the exam. Yep. So I have a couple of pieces of paper to submit, and then I'm licensed realtor, so that will be finalized this week. But I've already got my broker. I'm in with my brokerage, and everything's kind of off to the races. So I've been buying things for that. All the stuff for basically just doing business and real estate. There's all sorts of little odds and ends to put that together, and so that's moving. That's exciting. There's just a lot of that. I mean, honestly, there's been, like, I'm busy, but it's like the only way I can describe this is that like the the magnitude of hard switching a career in the 11th hour before your first child arrives. Like, I'm busy, but the busyness isn't what's fucking me up. It's just my brain can't stop for 3 seconds to calm the fuck down because it's constantly thinking about, like, are we going to be able to get this done in time? How the fuck are we going to be able to make, you know, a career switch work in something like real estate when baby first arrives and she's only got X number of months on you know, maternity leave before they stop topping up EI, and then we're on like a severely cut income from her. Can I somehow spin up enough business between the time she starts and then, like, can I get that? Can I, like, top that up and, like, keep that going? And it's just like that's fucking me up to the point where, like, I feel like I'm on autopilot, you know, when you're on overload, and then every day you're just you're doing things, everything is getting done, but then you go to bed at the end of the day and you don't even remember half of what you did. Like, you know, it's shit happened, but you don't even know what the fuck happened. Like, that's where I've been at for the last couple of weeks, and I don't suspect that it's going to stop anytime soon. But despite all that, it's going well. It's going well, and we're going to be seeing another ultrasound the final ultrasound this Saturday. So we're going to go in and get that, and that one's like one of those, like, they call it 4D. I don't even know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but it's like one of those fancy ones where you're basically seeing your fucking child before he's even out the womb, in glorious whatever the fourth dimension is. I don't know what the hell that means, but either way, it's like this high definition thing. She really wanted to have it, and so we'll have a pretty good idea of what baby Morehouse looks like this Saturday. And he still doesn't have a fucking name yet, so that's gonna be hilarious. You know, we're gonna see. Oh, bro,
you'll figure it out.
It still it feels like we're gonna be in the fucking hospital, and they're gonna be handing the baby to M. Be like, so what's the name? And like, there'll be somebody in the background with a piece of paper, waiting to write it down. And we're gonna be like,
you fill all that out yourself. You fill all that out yourself. So like,
no, I know, but just for like the comedy of it.
Oh, okay, yes.
What? You got something? And then we're like, you know, M's like in a fever dream, and I was like, Bob. And away we go. But yeah, it's it's an interesting and wild time. Like, coincidentally, like, I'd gone in to do some banking work today to get ready for the real estate side, as I was talking to Jeff before about, and the advisor there that day, they're expecting in December, like this December. And so we were just talking about everything and all the craziness of it and whatnot, and just, yeah, and he's in, you know, he was in the same spot, you know, he's like a deer in headlights, trying to figure out everything, like how the fuck everything like works and whatnot. And they've been in the country he and his wife have been in the country, they're both bankers, and they've been in the country for 8 years now. And he said, you know, it's been nice to see the hospital system like finally improving. And I said, well, I said it's got to be weird for you, because they've been here for 8 years. If you do the math, like, when they first got here, it was probably just before things started to really fall off a cliff. Because like 2020, you know, 2016, 2015, stuff wasn't that bad here. The wait times weren't nearly as bad. You know, we had way less staffing. We still had staffing problems, but it wasn't as bad as it was. And now he's seeing it on the come up. But for like us, I said, well, I've lived here my whole life. I was like, I remember the before times.
Oh yeah.
I said this shit is like, and my wife works in the hospital. I said, you know, it is improving, like that. Don't get it twisted. It is like they're finding more staff. You know, they're not like understaffed all the time anymore. But the biggest problem is that until we clear this, like, people don't have a family doctor thing, there are too many people that are going to the emergency room for like just random shit. That, like, that they don't need to go to emergency room, but they have no other options because the walk-ins are full, and there's no, like, the walk-ins don't exist anymore, by the way. They're called walk-ins. Like, the sign will say walk-in.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah.
You're booking 48 hours to 72 hours in advance, which is still a damn slight faster than other options. But that's why, you go to the emergency room and it's just full of people. It's like you said, head cold, fucking bumped my elbow on the door walking out the house today and gotta check that out. And it just slams the whole fucking, the system up. You've talked to M, she has to, when mental health patients come through, a lot of them have to go through emergency. They get processed first in emergency. And so she's having to talk on the phone with the staff in emergency. And she said every time, she said, I know it's busy there, but oh my God, they're all so angry all the time. You call up the staff and the emergency staff's like, what? What do you want? No, we can't do, no. What the fuck is wrong with you? No, you can't fucking, they're just constantly on edge. And I said to her, I said, look, I know you don't want to hear that shit from me, but listen, there's a reason why the turnover in the emergency is fucking huge. It is a war zone in that fucking place at all times.
Oh yeah.
You've experienced it not long ago. You sat there for like fucking an eternity.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking rough. Anyway, I digress. How about we see what the fine folks have sent over to us? You guys, huge participation rate today. Damn. Let's see what we can get through this week. Well, one sec. I mean, we have to answer this because, Major gave us money, which means we have to answer this question now, Mr. Black. That's kind of just how this works.
Okay.
It's a question for both of you. What belief did you once hold strongly that you've since changed your mind about, and why?
A belief. And that I've changed, and why? Oh boy. Good question.
Really, like, I know there's definitely more than one, almost certainly, through my life that has changed, because I think that's the natural progress of, or process when you grow up and you get more real world experience. There's preconceived notions that you have, there's there's a out in the real world working version of everyone. And then there's the version that has been out in the world working, and interacting with other people and experiencing life outside of what, school, really. There's school version of you, and this includes when you're in university. If you extend your schooling in university, you get a broader worldview in university, but you're still in school. So until you've gone out and you're just in it, it's easy to form a lot of opinions that aren't truly maybe somebody else has tested those opinions and you've heard them from others, but you haven't got a chance to test them yourself because you're still in the structure of education. And once you're out in the real world and you get to start to test your opinions and your beliefs and everything in real time. So I strongly believe there's a before and after, being in a education system, whether you're done at high school or otherwise. Either way, I think that's kind of where it is. So I'm trying to think about what positions might I have held if I reach back that far that changed after I was out in the matrix.gif, welcome to the real world. Because that's kind of where I can imagine the majority of that would be.
Yeah.
I'll say this because it's topical. And I think, I'm not worried about optics or anything on it, because I don't think it's anything malicious. My beliefs on how Canada handles refugee and immigration stuff has changed. If you went back and asked 18, 19 year old Adam, who, Jeff would tell you I was more like a 45-year-old man, but that doesn't mean much beyond the fact that I still needed world experience. But back then I was very altruistic in my thinking often. I mean, I was still people would still probably have clocked me as a bit of a glass half empty kind of guy, but for certain things I was definitely a bit of a an altruist, and I always had a great faith in Canada as a country to be able to facilitate that stuff. And perhaps some of that was because at that time and for all of my life to that point, we did actually facilitate that stuff properly or in a way that was sustainable. But I think I have divorced myself to a degree from some people's positions where some people seem to hold the belief that there is an infinite well from which to draw from in that regard, that I might have held that belief because I was given no reason not to believe that we didn't have a massive capacity for it back then. But now that we've seen it in real time, when you take the guardrails off a little too much, you get a little too fast and loose with it. You can see what happens. I would say the big thing for me has been to see at a more like micro level, like a community, like a local community level. Like, it's not about the housing, and like most of the people that are coming here, yeah, but like a lot of them, they're like 3 generations in a single household. They're like 7 cars and a fucking like, you know, duplex. Like one side of a duplex, you know, they're not buying 14 houses. They're cramming 17 people into a single house. So I've never been like a huge proponent of that. For Halifax, that's more of actually a problem of Ontarians coming during the pandemic than it was necessarily, you know, just immigration per se in the more traditional sense. But for me, it was seeing, when you bring so many people from very specific regions of the world with different language, and relatively, if not significantly different cultural underpinnings, and you bring them all to a small localized area, like let's say that there is a region that brings them in because they're trying to boost employment in certain sectors, so they bring in like hundreds, like we experienced here in Halifax, or thousands, tens of thousands.
I was gonna say hundreds.
Yeah.
Damn.
But like, well, in the sense, like there are like out in the middle of nowhere, you know, you add 500 people to a small place out in the valley. That's like a fucking, you've tripled the fucking population in some areas. Is that like when we went to school when we were kids, and it was this way post World War II, Canada was considered more of or less of a melting pot, more of a hybrid of like what they would call a cultural mosaic, where people can come here and still be, you know, still express and be within their own cultures. But the difference is that they still took on Canadian culture as their own, and that was like the new primary thing. Like, they were a Canadian. When you bring that many and they all move into the same area at the same time, and most of them have barely learned how to speak English yet, or their English isn't great, and things are rough, the economy is a little bad, out of necessity and because it's there and it's easy, they don't really integrate. They just create an enclave of like that specific culture, that specific location in a town immediately. And then there's no integration. And that ends up causing a bunch of like, kind of like, friction. Not in the racist way, but like just friction, because there is conflict in terms of how the two cultures view certain things. Like my family member of mine, like I mentioned before, is a teacher, and there was a problem with a lot of the younger boys from I'm sure you can figure out which areas of the world, but women are not taken seriously there. You know, they're not on the same footing as men, and so the female teachers were not being taken seriously. They were being talked down on, or they were being ignored entirely. And then the female students were also being treated in a, let's just say, not great way. And it did actually result in more than a few occasions, apparently, of like these weird, like, local boys, in the sense that like pure Canadian lads, not like the fucking blue hair, blonde eye type, but like they've been like their 3rd generation, or they're just here long term. We're getting in physical altercations over that stuff to try to protect the girls from these situations. So like that's the kind of thing that I have changed my position on, because now I'm seeing it in real time. And I do think that there is a difference for things like that, where sometimes you can have an idea of something and it sounds good on paper, And it should perhaps be that way. But you could be, the classic 6 degrees of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You can be separated just far enough from something that it doesn't seem like it's a real thing or like it's a real issue, and it just sounds like somebody's making some shit up, or they're exaggerating what it is, until until those degrees get smaller, and then it's 1 degree. It's you. I think that portion has shaped how I view certain things differently, and that's why I was talking about the world experience. Once you're actually out there, you start to get those degrees get closer and closer to you. When you're younger, there are, for a number of reasons, more and more layers between you and many of those things. And then when you get out there, all of a sudden it's either happening to you, it's happening directly to somebody that you know, or you're experiencing it in a much more close field. And that's changed my perspective on several things. And I'm just going to use that, immigration and refugee stuff as an example. Again, as my position has been before, not because I don't want them to be able to come here, but we've changed the rules in such a way, and we've increased the number too much, and it's ended up breaking several things that were long-standing and functional for my entire life up to this point. So, I'll say that I'll be mildly bold. I won't say it's a hot take, but I'll be mildly bold enough to say that anyway. That's kind of one of the things that has changed them.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to think of like something like a belief system that I've changed. I'm sure there's several. But I mean, yeah, I think the easy one is my political beliefs have changed. Yeah, I used to be a pretty far left-leaning individual, pretty much my whole life.
I think both of us were what you would describe as, because we were always very similar, and we're still pretty close, generally speaking. But what you would call, which is this is a very East Coast phenomenon, which, by the way, which is why there
liberal.
Is, progressive, a traditional liberal or a progressive conservative. Which line, for most of our lives until recently, not a hell of a lot of a difference between traditional liberal and progressive conservative, to the point where progressive conservatives on the East Coast now are basically just John Chrétien
correct
in the 90s.
Yeah, because a lot of people think here in Canada that, like, I'm definitely more right leaning, which would be conservative leaning, but I still have like a lot of liberal,
well, especially fiscally. You're fiscally conservative primarily, but you still have you still like the idea of many of the social programs and things that the liberal side is known to support.
Yes, but I even think like even conservatives still support a lot of this stuff. It's just a roundabout way on how they get there, I think is the real thing.
Sometimes it's how they get to the end point and not necessarily the end point itself.
But yeah, a lot of people think, like, because if you're left or right, that it's like the United States where it's you have your far left, which is like your Democratic, like your far left, and then your Republican far right. Like, it's not like that in Canada. It's just not like that.
There's a lot more of a gradient here.
Yeah. It's a lot more middle. Even our because far right here is like like the what is it?
People's Party,
the People's Party of Canada or something like that.
The PPC.
Yeah. That's like your far right, and I would never vote that. I would never vote that. It's very extreme, right? Like
there's like 10,000 people in the country under that flag right now.
So that's more so the far right equivalent of like a United States Republican, far right Republican.
PPC is like MAGA Canada, basically.
Again, even MAGA, there's like certain aspects. But anyway, we don't need to get into it's Canada. I'm talking about Canada here. But yeah, I used to be I voted liberal like my whole life, but these last couple of elections, I just could not. And a big part of it is because of the immigration, the Canada just not feeling like Canada anymore.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's off the backs of decision making that Justin Trudeau and his Liberal Party have made. And and I think another thing that's changed for me is I don't really, before I'd be a much more opinionated in terms of like, if you don't think the way that I think, you're probably a fucking moron. I don't think that
Mhm.
way anymore. I haven't for a long time. So if there's people that, I have family, friends, stuff that, vote a certain way or support certain things. And I if they're willing to have a conversation, I'll have a conversation. As before, it would be more of an argument. It would be more of like, I'm telling you. It's not really the case anymore. Obviously, I get passionate about specific
Mhm.
topics, and I'm much more educated now. Before it was more so like how I felt, and it wasn't necessarily grounded in any real.
Again, that's
Um,
what I was talking about before. Like you get
yeah,
more experience, and then your actual life experience starts to color it more. Whereas before, it was more of like an idea. You
yeah,
had ideas about things, but they weren't tested in real life yet.
yeah, and I also just don't give a fuck. But what people think about what I believe in. Like I've
Mhm.
stopped caring. Like especially being on the internet, people have their opinions, right? I just don't care. I believe what I believe. I look at what's best for me and my family, and the country as a whole. Um, so yeah, and I don't try and vilify people for feeling a certain way. I think everybody has their right, and I think everybody is brought up differently, and they're in different parts of their lives. But yes, the big one again is on the immigration. It's been a mess here for a while. It's really fucking up a lot of different things. And in some ways, it's propped up our GDP and it's made it so that we haven't gone into recession. But again, they've used that as a tool so that we wouldn't go into recession. And now we're all kind of paying for it, and we have been for the last couple of years, 3 years. And I continue to see it's still going to continue. I don't see the fucking light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon. So, um, yeah, I would say my position is very similar to yours. Again, I just think like from the like beliefs, I think when it comes like politically, my belief system has changed simply not because of who I'm watching on YouTube or Twitch or
But just what you're
that sort of stuff,
experiencing
right?
day to day yourself.
It's what I experience. Yes, like
Yeah.
what I'm living it, every
Yeah.
time I go to the gas pump, every time I go to Tim Hortons or Walmart or any entry level job, and I'm seeing less Canadians there, and I'm seeing, if I'm at the hospital and I'm seeing 80% immigrants and 20% Canadians, or if I'm seeing like these things again, it's not about I don't want people here and whatever. These are decisions that our government has made. And people are just looking for a better way of life, and you cannot hate the people for that. Um, I would do the same thing as a father or a
Mhm.
husband or somebody
Mhm.
that's trying to get out of a tough situation, and you're given a promise. And the vast majority of people that come here, they realize that the promise was the promise was not what was promised.
Mhm.
They come here and then they realize, man, maybe I should have just stayed the fuck where I was because this ain't it. So yeah, without getting too politically charged on the question, I would say that 100% over the last, I would say 4 to 6 years, my political beliefs have not drastically changed. They've just shifted.
Mhm.
And it's not like, I don't I don't I don't hate the other party or anything. I get it. And don't for a second think that the party that I vote for and or believe in, I don't believe that they have the magic pill that's going to change everything anyway. Politicians are going to do what politicians do. But there's just some fundamental things that have quite literally broke Canada. And it's not even just yapping that we're doing now. It's facts. It's there and everybody's feeling it. So, yeah, that's probably the big thing. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
that. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can't. I mean, there would be other things as well, but that's like the easiest, and because it's the closest to mind at this point, for sure is that. Um, and yeah, I'm sure there's others, but that's the easiest one to pick off the top of the dome for now. David asked, doing any Black Friday shopping, gentlemen? Yes, well, Mr. Black said that's what he's got on the schedule for later today.
Yep.
I do some. I mean, Black Friday isn't a day anymore. It's like a month and a half. I mean, there's pre Black Friday deals, post Black Friday deals that roll you directly into Boxing Day deals. That Boxing Day now goes into January. So, I mean, you got like from fucking October 31st straight through February 1st. It just seems like an endless, carousel of deals. You know, they do change a little bit, but yeah, I picked up some stuff, but nothing major, because I didn't have anything, that was. There was one thing I almost bought that was heavy, that's always on sale heavy this time of year, and that's the battery backups, like Anchor or EcoFlow, have those massive, basically just giant fucking lithium phosphate, like LiFePO battery backups. So because I don't have a gas generator, and you can get them sizable enough that you can get like a good 15 to 20 hours of like a refrigerator. So if the power's out, it's a real bad storm, and you're turning the refrigerator on for an hour at a time before turning it off for 3 or 4 hours, and then doing it again, you can really get a lot out of it, and of course back be able to charge phones and whatnot. Well, I just couldn't justify it because it is pretty rare for us to have that many days, and the beauty of it is that if the power does go out, typically it's because it snowed.
Yeah.
And so I'll just put my food on my deck.
It's cold.
Put it in the damn snow. It's out there. It's basically a freezer. It's kind of where we're at. So, so I avoided that, but you can get really deep discounts, like 50% off. And these things aren't cheap. Like you get into these major units and you're spending, $2,000, $1,500 or whatever. So you can get 50% off on that. That's pretty massive. So I almost did that, but otherwise, I haven't done much. I bought some movies because like I've mentioned before in the podcast, I've been buying movies again. So I got some of those on a sale. That's basically fucking it. Nothing crazy, but there have been some deals. The problem is that stuff has gotten so expensive that, the Black Friday deals right now are just the regular prices from last January. It's what it feels like we're at. We're getting basically
That's
what
literally
we
it
could have paid for in January, except now it's just technically a sale. So yeah, no, it's fine. But this is definitely, there are definitely some things that you can do well with right now. Ben Dover said movies and TV question. A new Stargate just got announced. Also, Game of Thrones main storyline continuations are in the works, as confirmed by Martin. Thoughts? All right, so Stargate first. Great. That was a long-running show. I didn't watch it religiously, but I watched some of it. Obviously, a lot of love for that show from a lot of people. I'm sure people are pretty... Well, they might be equal parts excited and apprehensive, because anything that gets rebooted or extended always seems to be sketchy. You gotta just wait and see what happens. You can't really get too excited. Fuck George R.R. Martin. That's my thoughts on the second one. Fuck that guy. He left everyone that made him the fat neck-bearded bitch that he is, a multi-bajillionaire, off of the books before the TV show showed up, and refuses to finish the shit. Finish the fucking books before you start writing more TV shows. Stop. I don't care if you think that you've got writer's block at this point or whatnot. It's a miracle you're even breathing right now. If we're being honest, I mean, you look like you're not long for the fucking world. So just get it done and then write some more TV shows, or like hand it off to somebody else. Let somebody else do some writing. I don't just get it done. Like, stop blue balling your entire fucking fan base, if there's even anyone left. I mean, at this point, maybe people don't care. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe he's waited so long that people just don't give a fuck if the Song of Ice and Fire or whatever ever finishes. But I mean, I think that's crazy, man. It almost feels, at first I understood. as somebody who has done mildly creative work in my life, and I mean mild, this is not writing a fucking pantheon of fucking books. I get it. Writer's block, creative blocks suck. I was sympathetic. Bro, nobody believes your shit now. You ain't got writer's block for fucking a decade while you were still writing TV shows. If you got a block, you ain't writing TV shows either. You got an I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm a multi-bagillionaire and the shows pay more. I don't care anymore. Go fuck yourself. I'm going to show up and do conventions where people ask me questions and I heavily breathe into a microphone through my diabetes to give you a non-answer about the fact that my books are never going to be done. So at this point, I got no sympathy. I think it's disrespectful to the fans at this point. I think it's crazy work. I think he needs to focus up and get that shit done. And I tell you one thing, I ain't going to be watching Game of Thrones on television anymore. Not least of which for the reasons I just gave you for the books, but also they didn't even get the original finished properly. Why the fuck do I care about further Game of Thrones when the original series got fucked so hard that the ending was the most limp-dicked, impotent bullshit where you had producers telling people that their TVs weren't calibrated because they were too lazy to actually animate the fucking battle. Nah, I'm good. Anyway, that's my rant on it. A little heated about it, but fuck George R. R. Martin. Seriously, that dude is a clown show. What's your opinion?
First, Antony Gore, and Josh, thanks for the super chats over there.
Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, geez, there was a whole bunch of consecutive ones. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
So what was the question? I know George R. R. Martin doing more Game of Thrones, but what was the first part of that?
He was just mentioning that Stargate was getting announced or got announced.
That's right.
It was just the announcement for that.
Yeah, Stargate, I never got into. I think I watched the first couple episodes because there was such a cult following and people wouldn't shut up with Stargate. So I watched it, but I watched it many years after, and the CGI and everything was pretty fucking bad. So I just didn't watch it. I'm not excited for it because I don't really care for it. But thumbs up for those that want it. As for George R. R. Martin doing more continuation of actual Game of Thrones, it's whatever, dude. That's just a headline. Are we ever going to see it? Probably not. Let's just be real. We're just not. And if we are, it'll be another decade from now because they've got so many Game of Thrones spinoffs coming out. You got House of Dragons. You got another other one that finished filming. That's coming out next year. Same with House of Dragons. A bunch of Game of Thrones coming out. So anyway, that's whatever. One thing I am kind of excited for, what Donald Trump has gone out and said, it'd be great. Rush Hour 4, be great.
Oh,
Jackie
true.
Chan,
yes.
Jackie Chan and what's
Chris
his name?
Tucker.
Black guy. Chris Tucker. Great. Funny, great guy. Great guy. He went out and he said, I think Paramount said, I got you, Trump. I got you, President. So apparently it's finally happening. And it's been a rumor for a long time.
I thought they had a script for ages or some shit.
They did. Yeah, they did. But now Paramount, I think it was Paramount. They said, we got you. So it's going to go down.
Shout out to Trump. Best thing he's done so far in his presidency.
I am happy. I am happy we are getting a Rush Hour 4. I'm here for it. Especially an older Tucker and an older Jackie Chan trying to do young people things. It'll be funny as fuck.
Listen,
I'm here for it.
The only thing that made me a little sad is that, Jackie's a professional, but when he was interviewed about those Rush Hour films, he was like, I low-key hated doing them because I don't understand anything.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand a fucking thing. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, Jackie, at some point, you've been doing movies in North America for longer than I've been fucking alive. Yeah. Either learn the language or don't complain. I mean, fuck me, dude. You've done a bajillion North American movies. I mean, for God's sake. So beyond that, beyond hearing that he wasn't a fan of those movies, which may be a little sad because they are probably my favorite Jackie Chan movies that aren't his old martial arts stuff. I'm all for more Rush Hour, bro. Give me a Shanghai on top of that. You want to give me a Shanghai to go with it? Give me that Owen Wilson, Jackie Chan, get him back in the saddle. Give me one of those. Because in my mind, those movies go fucking hand in hand. Like, when I watch one, I immediately want to go watch the other. Because they're basically the same movie. It's just you're taking Chris Tucker and you're replacing him with Owen Wilson. And the formula is identical. And so, and you know why it just fucking works. It's fantastic. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm actually excited. I'm excited for that. That is going to be fun.
Yes, so I agree. Follow-up question is, you can only use one cutlery item for the rest of your life for all of your meals. Choose your fighter.
I'm going with a one cutlery item.
Yeah.
I'm going with the spork.
I feel like that's cheating, but okay, yeah, all right, yeah, fuck it,
it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing.
It is.
Said one cutlery item, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Why not?
I'm going chopsticks.
No, hell no, chopsticks, bro.
I mean, soup. Just give me the bowl. I'm just fucking like I'm just pouring the bowl into my mouth.
What about like steak and? Like, how are you cutting all this stuff, man? Like, you can't.
Well, presumably with steak and stuff, like saying what you can eat with. He didn't say what you can cook with, because and even then, I mean, the chopsticks are pretty versatile in that regard. But like, I mean, presumably if it's being cooked, you have to use other utensils. So this is just eating. So like, if you're cooking with whatever, you can just cut the steak ahead of time. I guess.
I suppose.
So if you extended that to like cooking and eating, then yeah, you got to go spork because you're fucked. Otherwise, I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
Dude, if I had to use chopsticks for everything, I would just end up just using my hands, bro. I just use my hands.
You know what?
I feel like
they do too.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I feel like picking chopsticks is a waste because you can basically just use your fingers and it's the same sort of deal.
It's a little cleaner. I mean, but we can wash our hands.
You can also wash your hands before you eat. So, you know, anyway. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the Philippines, you're eating with your hands 99% of the time. So, I mean, that should, M's answer is, I don't care. I'm just using my hands.
Yeah. I'm just getting it in.
Just one fucking getting her in. Just fucking giving her. That was definitely like a culture shock thing. We're out at a restaurant and it's a pretty nice restaurant. And we're out with her family. Right? And like, here I am, white with a capital H, and I'm sitting in amongst all of these Filipinos. I already stand out like a sore fucking thumb. I'm sweating my fucking balls off. I'm like dying in this restaurant. They bring over all this food, and when the Filipinos eat, it's like just there's enough food for 7 to 10 months, and you just kind of and people are just going for it, and then it's all in front of them. And it's just picking everything up by the hand, and I'm sitting there, and my brain is going, this feels so fucking wrong. I can't, like, I can't fucking get around this idea of, like, just hand eating. I just felt so fucking weird, but yeah, it's, hey, as it turns out, pretty good. It works pretty well. Let's see. Man, Ben Dover had a 3-piece here, and the last one was a fucking paragraph. He said, been watching you guys for over 10 years. Bless, and also I apologize. Just became a Patreon supporter. Thank you. My cable TV package expired, and I thought, why would I pay the same amount of money for something that I watch once a quarter when I watch you guys every day? And when I've backed you, I felt super happy, and I've also realized that I'm not only supporting you, but also myself. How much would I give to bring you back if you stop recording? My entire entertainment vanished. A lot. So I'm happy to contribute so it never happens. Please share, as I hope to convince others to at least start with that $1 and see how it feels. I'm going to now shoot you with dozens of years worth of questions. Let's start with something easy. Who built the pyramids? Great question. I believe it was Keanu Reeves. First of all, thank you, Ben. Bless. I mean, that name is a classic. We've seen it around the block. Bless. That was very nice. Very good hashtag ad on our behalf. I might say. Thank you.
That.
Who built the pyramids? The fucking Egyptians, bro.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked at what you can accomplish with about 20,000 slaves. You know, you might think to yourself, how did they move all that shit? How did they do all that shit? They threw bodies at it until it was done. And it took hundreds of years. I mean, they were starting some of those pyramids, and then they knew that shit ain't gonna be done for fucking like 200 years on the other side. Similar to some other, like, you know, like Mr. Black saw when he was in Spain, the Familia. You know, that thing basically, you know, it's still under construction now, for fuck's sake. It's never not. And like, you go there and you see it, it's so detailed and it's so massive, and you know that it was all done by human hand. And for the majority of it with hand tools, no power tools. And you're like, how could we conceivably, it must have been some secret we've lost over to, no, bitch! It was 500 years! And people literally got born into a family where their last name was like Carpenter, and then they fucking went and they like 17 generations of carpenters went and built that fucker, and like eventually it was done like hundreds of years later. Like, that's just kind of how, you know, as it turns out, again, you get yourself enough people in time, you'll be surprised what you can fucking accomplish. It might not happen quick, but it'll happen. But yeah, this shit's it's fucking Egyptians, bro. It ain't as much as I love the aliens. You know, ancient alien theorists suggest is one of the greatest sentences ever constructed in the English language, because it means absolutely nothing. Ancient alien theorists suggest.
I don't think there's been a single solitary alien that has been on this planet. And if they do, they ain't making pyramids and then fucking off.
No, they're playing in the NBA. Have you seen Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah. I think that there is different versions of humans. I think that there's different, like, you know, over the thousands and thousands of years.
Well, there have been. We have cataloged that. Yes.
We have evolution.
It's happened.
It has happened. But do I think that there's some sort of being that came to Earth and created the pyramids and
then fucked off?
You know, and then fucked off into outer space again? And no, I don't.
Conceptually, just show up here like,
fuck.
Hey guys, I don't know if you know this, but if you stack rocks like this, it's pretty efficient. Peace.
See ya. Yeah, we're gonna put all kinds of hieroglyphic stuff all on the walls, and you guys can decipher it and figure it out. But we're going back out there now. See you, bye. And it's like, why would it only happen in that one spot? And there isn't pyramids like sort of all over the world. There's other types of pyramid. I know there's other pyramids and stuff, but I mean like clusters and large, you know, like those types of pyramids in many different parts of the world on that scale. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was the Egyptians.
And that's why I said, you know, as it turns out, people have discovered it's pretty efficient to stack rocks in that shape, which is why you get pyramids all over the world. Just try throwing a bunch of rocks in a pile, and after a while, if you step back far enough, it starts to look like a fucking triangle. It's just kind of how it works. It's physics.
Yeah.
It's
So if I had to guess, my guess is, obviously we don't know for sure, but my guess would be the Egyptians. And again, what Adam said, a lot of slave labor, a lot of death, a lot of absolute anguish. The sheer amount of hell that people have probably been put through building those things is unconceivable.
Yeah.
Like we're talking crazy amounts of slavery. Some next level shit. Like types of slavery that have my ancestors going, that's it? Like that's all you guys are putting us through? Hey, you know, we just got to go grab some cotton. You know, we got to go to a field and we got to do this and you know, but these guys are pushing. I mean, God only knows. And
15-ton sandstone.
Yeah. You know, I'm not trying to lower.
Do you think the Egyptians had? Do you think the Egyptians had their own hymns? Do you think the slaves had their own hymns?
We're taking this joke and we're going to a whole nother level. I'm sure they did. You know, because music Because music keeps people together, you know? It gets them, builds up spirit, builds up camaraderie. You know what I mean? Everybody's going through it together, you know? It ain't, you know, I don't know what the hymns would sound like, but I do know
the
that
Egyptian spirituals coming.
Jesus, man. So, you know, I'm not saying, listen, I'm not trying to say that there's levels to slavery, all right? You know, in a roundabout way, I'm joking about it, but I would imagine that the level of slavery that happened to build those fucking pyramids,
it's up there
in the desert, probably bad time.
Just probably a little bit more than you know.
A bad time.
Yeah,
it's a bad time.
You know,
yeah, it's all bad, but
it's all bad.
I would imagine.
There
People weren't getting paid, you know, $3 an hour going there and building pyramids. Be lucky, like, you know, they went through some shit, and them rocks they ain't even rocks. Those are like building skyscraper-sized fucking gigantic boulders. You know, yeah,
oh, shit. Just to carve them, like the tools they had, like they could do this, but it's like soft metal oftentimes, and so like just imagine the amount of time, bro. Fuck.
No.
Oh my god. It's crazy. It's like your family's entire existence for the next 50 years is to carve this one stone.
Just one stone.
To get into the pyramid.
Crazy.
Let's see here. Josh has got some gaming stuff. Predictions on Steam's Gabe Cube. I love that name so much. The Gabe Cube. That really should have been the real name. I would have bought one just for the fucking box that said Gabe Cube on it.
Just call it the Gabe Cube. That's all you need to do,
commit.
right?
Huh. What do we think that that the retail price will be? I think it's going to be $8.99 to $9.99 US.
Yeah. I think the absolute cheapest I could see them going is $6.99 US.
And I feel like they have to take a loss to sell it.
It'd be like, yes. And it would be like a base model with the least amount of, you know, hard drive space, and we're talking the absolute bottom of barrel. But I think it's going to be closer to what you said. I think it's going to be $8.99 with different versions going all the way up to $9.99.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm in for it. I'm getting it regardless, because I think that there's a use case for this for me and my family. And it gets me off of this.
Yeah, it gets me out of the room.
Gets me doing this, but like in another area, and I can choose to use keyboard, mouse, or controller. Use any controllers I want. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think that's probably where it's at. And I think people, what surprised me, I talked about this on my stream the other day, what surprised me about this news and people's reactions to it that there were a lot of people, and even people that I would not have expected to have a like pearl clutching moment when the Steam folks confirmed that this is going to be priced more like an entry-level PC and not a console. My first thought when I heard that people were pearl clutching, like even like to a degree, Linus, it's like, what did you expect?
What did you expect
to be? You know, like, how did you really think that they were going to put out something at like $4.99 or some shit? Like, there's just no universe. I don't even know where your headspace would have to be at to think that was a thing, so you could get disappointed about hearing that it's going to be priced more like an entry-level PC. So that was an odd thing to hear. But you know, I think that this is also a stepping stone for them. I think this is them putting their toe in the water. I think they know that because they have a soft monopoly with their own thing, the more that they can lock down like this Steam OS, this Linux distribution, that's Steam OS, that they can put on pre-built PCs like the Gabe Cube. Yeah. If they can get this small form factor bumping, then they can scale it, and then in the future, like not right now because they don't want to overspend, but you know, in the future maybe we get a $12.99 model, a $15.99 model, right? Where you're getting bigger. You know, it's going to have to be bigger, and they would never want to go all the way up to a mid tower, certainly, because I think they do want to keep it like living room style, but like the size of a Series X, I think is probably like what they would want to shoot for. And I think that this is just their step in. They can't overcommit because even though they have their own distro basically for Linux, they still have to rely on support from graphics card manufacturers and CPU manufacturers, so AMD and Nvidia or Intel, whoever they choose to use, and then game support. So, you know, this is like, just like I think the Steam Deck was their toe in the water there, this is like their next toe in the water, but now we're going to put it in a TV in the living room. And I think you might see bigger and more expensive, more capable units, because this is really going to be like a 1080p 60 type situation without using like frame gen and shit. So and if you look at like Steam, like, you know how every year, you've probably seen it pop up several times over the years, every year they do a Steam hardware survey where they ask you if they can just scan your computer to see what your graphics card is, what your RAM is and stuff. And then you can go and look at that data and you can see what's the most common graphics card, what's the most common processor, what's the most common amount of RAM, etc. It's like they looked at their data, which they have buckets of data. This GameCube feels like they went at like and like the fucking like the normal distribution and picked the fucking dead middle. It's like they basically just hit the most common performance level to play it safe. If I had one criticism of this, I appreciate that they're trying not to go overboard, but I think that if they went for dead middle and then just a couple of extra fucking little fucking ass slaps into the other direction just to give it a little extra sauce, sell it for that hard $9.99, but give us that like extra little bit of something so that the people that they've surveyed that are in this realm already, maybe they have a reason. Now they're not side grading. Now they're getting a bit of an upgrade when they buy this thing. And it's not just, oh, I can put it in my living room. Now it's, I can replace my pretty much exclusive gaming PC with the GameCube. But doing it now, it's not an upgrade. It's just a horizontal move into an almost identical system based on
but I don't think
surveys.
I get it, but I don't think most people are looking this to be an alternative. I would imagine that most people are.
It's like an additive.
Correct. This isn't. I of course there will always be anomalies. There will always be a small percentage of people that I believe will look at this and say, "Hey, you know, I need a computer upgrade. My PC is, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I don't really feel like spending $3,000 on a new gaming PC. And here comes GameCube, and we can buy this for $1,000." Because I believe that in order to completely remove the PC out of the equation and substitute it for this GameCube, it actually has to become a PC. And because you are going to downgrade no matter what. I mean, even if the GameCube,
you can put Windows on it.
Of course, but there's gonna be. I mean, Adam, it's the size. I mean, I don't need to tell you.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do, right? The people are not gonna want to take a step back. I believe that they're gonna still want their PC. They're still gonna use their PC, but they're gonna grab this so that they have a portable Steam machine that they can take to their friend's house for LAN parties. They can travel with it and hook it up to the TV right in their hotel. They can put it into a different bedroom, multiple different bedrooms. You can move it into a media room. It's you're not competing with other people that have the same machine. I'm sure there'll be different levels of it like most consoles, but when you buy a PlayStation 5, right, assuming that you're getting like what everybody else is getting, you're on the same playing field as everybody else. There is a different psychological thing and almost competition or a dick measuring contest between what you and your friend has, or
Mhm.
what you, and we're not even just talking about the specs for a game trying to max the amount of graphical output that you can have, but we're also talking about a keeping up with the Joneses aspect of it, where, maybe I spend this extra couple of $100 to get that extra I at the end of the T, so that I can get this extra 12%. I believe that people are going to buy this as an additive. They're not going to buy it as the thing to get maximum performance out of the games. The ones that want maximum performance, this machine isn't for them.
No, of course not.
PCs are for them. But it doesn't mean that they can't own this to still enjoy things and enjoy these things with family, with children, with friends, and still get a very good experience and still play a game at 1080 60 frames for the most part. If they want to go the 4K fucking 180,000 frames and all this other, you don't do that on the GameCube, at least not
No.
on this version of the GameCube, right? So I don't think that there's a much of a market for people where it's like, okay, well, we're going to scan everybody's PC and we're going to go in the middle in hopes that we can, get people to buy this instead of the next PC. People will still buy the PC. People are still going to have their dedicated gaming rig. And I think the demographic that they're hitting here is like the added demographic are the ones that aren't interested in a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 gaming PC. They just want to play games, and they just want to play games and feel like they're part. They want to go on Steam and go on their Steam sales and buy these games and have fun. Those are the people that are going to purchase one of these over building a computer. Why get a computer when I can just buy the GameCube and save $1,000, $2,000, and still be able to enjoy what most people enjoy as hardcore gamers? Hardcore gamers will buy this, but they're buying it for different reasons. Some are going to buy it because they're going to buy whatever's out, and that's that. Some people are going to buy it because they, like me, I don't even play many PC games, bro. I play Grand Theft Auto and like the odd fucking, MMO style shooter, whatever. But I will buy this because I want my son to get into PC gaming without having to worry about graphics cards and CPU usage and how many programs you got running and all of the nonsense of the internet. I don't want him going on the web and seeing shit he shouldn't see and stuff like that. If I can get something that allows him to play PC games without sitting in a fucking computer chair in an office, and he can go into an environment like the living room and play Steam games in front of the family where we can keep an eye on them, that's the value for me. And I think that's going to be the value for a lot of people. And even the gamers that love their hardcore gaming, dude, people love being in their gaming rooms. They just do. They like their office, like their PC, they got their cool little fucking gaming chair and their keyboards that have all their RGB lights, and they've got their 3 monitors, and they've got their Go XLR little thing there, and they've got their webcam, and they've got they don't want to replace that, bro. They don't. They just want another thing that when they don't feel like suiting up and going to war, they can just lay down in their bed and still enjoy a game, or sit on the sofa and still enjoy. It's a secondary thing. And the fact that it will cost around $1,000 and not several grand, it's obtainable for most gamers to have this as an added thing. And then it can also be a bridge for those that are waiting to upgrade a PC. And they could say, hey, I can still enjoy on my GameCube and still play. And then when the next graphics cards come out, or they drop in price or whatever, then maybe I'll upgrade my thing. So I think that's the demographic they're going after, personally.
Yeah, I think that it's, yeah, so I mean, a lot of what you just said is what I was getting at, and so I agree with a lot of what you just said, where like they're clearly going after a specific demographic in that they almost have taken the exact middle of, if you look at their surveys, like this is the spec for this thing is the existing damn near middle of like their data set. So they know this is the broadest reaching, and I think they used it in the sense that they looked at it and said, what is the lowest common denominator of hardware that we can put in this thing that the most people are still clearly finding to be acceptable for their gaming, because this is what we're seeing in our data, and this is what this is what they're getting putting out. It's a 1080p 60. It can go a little higher with that if you're using, I think this is AMD base, so it'd be FSR 3. It's not FSR 4 for this one. And so I think that's where they started. That was their starting point, and then they went from there. And it also allows them to make it as small as they did, because watching the interviews that Gamers Nexus did with the engineers and whatnot, that were the ones responsible for this thing in the first place, it did seem like part of their whole thing was they wanted to make it small, like they wanted it to be quite tiny, and like how much. What's the upper threshold that we can get away with and keep it small? And there's still some question marks. It'll be very interesting to see how it handles heat, because there's not a lot of vent on this bad boy, and it is quite compact. And so even though like stuff is not the most powerful equipment in there, it will be very intriguing to see how it handles heat in general and without thermal throttling itself. But I agree. I think the markets that it will impact most or attract the most attention from are one, similar to what you said, people who already own a main or like a primary PC gaming rig. They are primarily PC gamers. They have a host of games that don't need to be at 4K. They're happy playing them at lower resolutions and frame rates, but they would like to sometimes just do that on a couch that's not in their main room. They're just chilling somewhere else, bedroom, living room, wherever. And so I think it's that. And then I think the next one, or the next part of it, is, there's a enormous gaming market that doesn't just exist in Canada, US, continental Europe. Right? Like, Brazil and these massive burgeoning, I don't even know, I'm pretty sure they're going to also be selling them there, but I could just be making shit up in that I'm assuming that they will be selling them globally. Those are markets where, a main PC there is not what it is here. Like, even close. And, something like this could conceivably be a replacement and a more economic choice for those markets that aren't here, where they have a dedicated 8x10 space where they've crammed it full of blue and purple bisexual lighting and slammed RGBs onto every conceivable surface in the room to do their hardcore gaming in their DX Racer chair. There's lots of markets where that's not the case. So I think it's for those two markets. Which means over here, I think the market is also the similar market that would have bought the Steam Deck. Yep. Like those people. And then, people who are legitimately constrained financially. Because here's my other theory. There's a lot of people right now looking at the console gaming market going, a fucking Xbox is $829 US. A PlayStation is $700 or some shit. Every game is now $90 to $100 fucking dollars a piece in the console world. But in Gabeland, you go on to Gabeland, and at multiple times through the year, you're buying games for $5, $3, $15, and these are the big dick energy games. It changes the playing field. So even if you look at this GameCube and you say, okay, well, let's say the PlayStation's selling for $699 US, and the GameCube comes out at $899. You're like, oh, $200. Oh man. And then you stop for 2 seconds. You realize that's 2 games on the PlayStation at full price. And by the time you buy a small selection of games on Steam, you've already cleared the fucking difference between the two. And so if you're comfortable with that 1080p 60 and you don't need 4K or faux 4K or whatever, So I think that that's another market that they can look at. They have to, Gabe's looking at it going like, I mean, Jesus, we sell to everyone. We're
Yep.
making bagillions of dollars. I think their revenue is I can't remember if it's 15 or 50 million dollars per employee generated at Steam.
Yep.
Like just insane amounts of money generated. And it's all from this one platform. So Gabe and the crew, they know the consoles are in shambles.
Oh yeah, bro.
They're a rough spot.
This is gonna be a big success. I really believe, and I think this is also a proof of concept for them. And
Yes.
I think the next version of whatever the fuck this thing is gonna be, it's gonna be a big dick, and it's gonna change the fuck. This is gonna change the game, but I think the one after this, when they look at all the feedback and they look at what they did right and what they did wrong, and they look at the whole scale, because if anybody can lose money on selling a console, it's Valve. Valve can quite literally hand these things out if they wanted to for $499
and then just make all their money on Steam
and take a couple $100 loss per console.
Yeah.
And still turn out a fucking profit come 18 months, 24 months of a user using this shit, because of the amount of money that these guys make off every piece of software they sell on their thing. And then when you throw in Steam sales, you throw in all this other stuff. I mean, PlayStation, Xbox cannot do this at that level. Not now. They just can't. Like, Valve can. Will they? I don't know. Maybe that's something they have to do in the future when they go really big dick. Maybe that's what they have to do. But, I mean, bro, if this thing does come out at $499, like a base model, $599.
There's no chance.
Holy shit.
That's just,
that
would be sick. And they could afford it, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
I
don't either. But like a $599 GameCube. Oh
yeah.
Man, the consoles. They're already sweating. The console guys they're already sweating.
It's possible. We talked about this on stream too. It's possible that by the time the next version of this comes out, it will be the same year that the next Xbox, the very premium Xbox, arrives. It's possible that the next version, bigger dick GameCube, which is unlikely to be whatever Xbox is doing, it won't be as powerful, but it will likely be close enough if they choose to do it. Because maybe they don't. Maybe this just sells well enough that they don't fuck with it. But if they go for it, Xbox is like the console Xbox is super fucked. Like in the ground. Dead.
You can play Xbox games on the GameCube.
Yes.
Like, and what is Xbox gonna do? What is Microsoft gonna do? Is Microsoft gonna say, take our fucking games off Steam? I don't.
They can't afford to.
Hell no. They're done. At that point, they may. It's over. The best thing that they could do is say, our console is dead. It's over. We are just a publishing company. That's it. We're giving our fucking licensing out to Steam, to you can play these games on PlayStation, you can play them anywhere. If they try and pull, same with Sony. They try and pull off Steam, they're fucked. The consoles are dead. Gabe would be like, "Oh yes. Oh yes. I dare you. I dare you." And they won't. They won't. They have to take this. They have to take this hard. And there ain't nothing they can do about it. So good luck, have fun. Xbox is in trouble. Sony's going to be fine. Sony's going to be here for a while. Okay. Yeah. Xbox though is in shit. They literally need to come up with a PC. They're fucked. Like they have to. I don't know what they're going to pull off, but this GameCube shit, game over.
That's rough.
That's over. Rough. It's over.
Here's a funny stat for you just before I move on to the next thing. The number, even though Japan is Microsoft's weakest territory, it's still sad. But in the last week in Japan, like the PlayStation 5 sold like, what was it? I can't remember if it was like, was it 300,000 units? or something like that. Or, I can't remember if it was 30,000 or 300,000. Anyway, it doesn't matter because the comparison's still going to suck. The Xbox sold like it was like 30 or 300 in the same period. People aren't buying current Xbox, and they're actively aggro to their remaining user base. Like they're anti their own consumer base. So I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do when the next one comes around, except burn more money. Like they're truly fucking insane. But yeah. Black Ops 7 has the worst campaign ever created. Well, I don't know about ever created, but it's definitely bad. And it's loaded with AI bullshit, apparently.
It's garbage, bro. I mean,
it's garbage.
Wait.
It's bad.
It's Call of Duty.
It's been bad, but it finally seems like even the Call of Duty diehards have finally hit a wall. Fuck me, it only took forever, but we got here. So welcome to the real world to all of the Call of Duty enthusiasts who refused to believe that Call of Duty was fucked for ages. We're here now. And Shroud says Arc Raiders should win Game of the Year. Well, Shroud might be one of the greatest Counter-Strike players of all time, but he is not a video game critic that anyone should pay any attention to. The guy plays like 3 games a year. They're all live service shooters. What in the fuck does Shroud know about video games in general? Even if you were to take that out of the equation, Arc Raiders is not even remotely close to the top 5 games released this year. So I don't know I don't know if the argument, and I've heard it's not just Shroud, it's like some other streamers, because again, they only play 3 games a year. Like the argument seems to be like, well, so many people played it, so it has to be Game of the Year. Like, well, by that,
but I mean, look at Marvel Rivals. Look at, like, you know what I mean? Like, look at all these different
is League of Legends Game of the Year every year?
Exactly. League of Legends. I mean, you could go down the list. There's a whole bunch of them. I think you know what I think it is of the year? I think it is the live service Game of the Year that has gotten people discussing a video game, right? I think that is what it is. Fundamentally, as an actual video game, playing the game, what the game offers, it is not Game of the Year. I think it's just I believe it's been the perfect storm, because every live service live service game that has come out on a larger scale, we're talking Battlefield, Arc, Call of Duty, and there was a couple of more throughout the beginning of this year. They were all relative letdowns. I think Battlefield has come out with like a solid double, from a baseball term, whereas it didn't come out and hit a grand slam. It didn't even really hit a home run. It got a solid double on their way to third base, right? It's just people didn't come out and just completely, some people shit on the game, but people didn't come out and just say this game is fucking, the whole franchise is dead. I think what they allowed it to do is Battlefield will continue, right?
They didn't fumble. That was the important thing. They needed to stop fumbling, and they didn't fumble this time.
Correct. And I think if Arc Raiders didn't exist, I think Battlefield would get a lot more praise than what it's actually getting. I think there'd be a lot more talk about it, a lot more people playing. But because Arc has hit, and a lot of it is driven by content creators. So a lot of it is driven by people that are streamers, YouTube creators, TikTokers, content creators have really and the game bodes well to that, because of the things that happen within the game, and those things that happen get repetitive relatively quickly. You put 20 hours into that game, and the wow factor kind of goes away a little bit, and then it's a good serviceable game. I think that they became the Game of the Year in terms of content creating of the year. But in terms of it actually being Game of the Year, I can't put it in there. Shroud, obviously there's a level of bias there. And these content creators are going to say what they're going to say, and in the moment he might actually mean it, right? To him, it may actually be his favorite Game of the Year, and all the power to him. Right. But sure, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I've played the game. I've played the game for, I don't know, I might have like 15 to 20 hours into it, which is a lot for me, all things considered. I don't really give time of the day to most games these days. I enjoy it. I think it's a fun game. I think it's a fun experience with your friends. I'm not big on the fucking Tarkov type, go in there, grab a
Extraction
few
shooter.
items, extraction shooters. It's not my jam. I personally prefer a game like Battlefield over Ark simply from the way it's played. But I can appreciate what they did. I think it's a pretty looking game. I think it sounds fantastic. I think that they marketed it very well. I think that they're adding support to the game. They're listening to the community. I think they're doing really well with it. And I think that this is going to be a franchise now that we're going to see more of these things come out, whether it's downloadable content or, Arc Raiders 2 or whatever. I think that it's cemented itself. But do I think it's the best game of the year? I personally don't. I just don't. And, but again, it's not my jam. So again, take what I say with a grain of salt, It's fun.
JLam asks, being a content creator or self-employed, what are your perspectives on work-life balance, and has it changed now from when you started? As a secondary thought, is it possible to be successful as a part-time content creator, or is it something that you have to fully commit to for it to work? We've talked about this like in spurts, so this doesn't have to be super long. The work-life balance thing. So this is all about what are your goals? And this goes for not just content creation, but being self-employed, period. What are your goals? And what do you have to do to achieve those goals? The thing about content creation, I'll stick to content creation specifically just for this, because that's what your second part of the question was. Listen, here's the reality of today for content creation today. You could take two people, all else equal, meaning they are equally as entertaining. They're in the same niche, right? They're doing the same type of content. They're equally as entertaining. They put in the same amount of time. They put out the same schedule. One of those two people is more likely to just randomly fucking catch, and the other person doing the same formula with basically the same thing, as close as you can get, could be caught in obscurity for the rest of their fucking life. And the reason for that is there are just so fucking many people making so much content that, like, it's just numbers. Like, you can have people that, like, look at Burnt Peanut, who, speaking of Arc Raiders, he was a Tarkov guy. I remember watching Peanut when he just had like 200 people watching his shit. And in this last calendar year specifically, has been meteoric, almost out of fucking nowhere. And it's not that his schedule dramatically changed. It's not that his shtick dramatically changed. The one thing you could point to is that if there was anything, it's just being consistent, and eventually sometimes it happens. And for him, it happened. But there are also lots of people that do similar bits as him that are still stuck in obscurity. So, I like back when Mr. Black wrote the book #The Grind. A lot of that is still applicable. The difference is that when that book was written, the chances of applying a lot of what was in that book and having it have a force multiplier effect on your chances of having a measurable amount of success. We're not talking turning into the next fucking, ninja. Were greater than they are now. As time has gone on, there are just like orders of magnitude more people in the pool, which means you have to really, when people come and ask me do now and how I approach my own content now, and this would be true even if I wasn't doing real estate, if I was doing any other job after this, I think the secret sauce now is consistency is always important, but consistency doesn't mean 16 hours a day or 18 hours a day. Consistency means maybe you can do 2 hours a day, and that's it. But if you're constantly doing those same 2 hours, and the second piece is find something that you actually fucking enjoy doing. The days of like min-maxing what's the flavor of the month thing, I don't think that works anymore. And the reason being is because of the volume of people. The beauty of there being even more eyeballs today than there were 10 years ago is that you can do some obscure shit and you could build a community of 500 to 1,000 viewers given enough time if you're putting out good content. Like, you could be a dude playing fucking, like Barbie's Dream House on fucking Twitch, and you do that for 2 hours a day for a couple of years, and there's a good shot that you hit a weird subcategory of people that are like, this shit's fucking hilarious. I love watching it. It's dumb as hell, and I'm here for it. Like, here's another good example. I'll hand it off to Jeff in a second. Speedrunners. It used to be like there was an upper pantheon of like speedrunners that had like really big view counts. Because they were speedrunning the most popular games. I follow several speedrunners on Twitch that speedrun fucking like Wicca fucking pedia, and they're getting 3,000 people watching them. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot when you compare it to other people, but that's a lot of fucking people at this point.
And so, make some damn good money with that. Yeah.
Do what I think it's consistent. And the way that you stay consistent is pick something you actually enjoy doing. What game or games? What genre? What's the thing that you like? Burnt Peanut, it was extraction shooters. And he enjoyed playing the over-the-top character that he plays in his role. And he did that consistently for a long time, and it eventually paid off. Now, does everyone pop off like him and probably win Streamer of the Year or Content Creator? The fuck no. But again, lots of great success is just doing what you love and doing it consistently. So you can do it as a hobby. That's the beauty of it now. Just do it as a hobby. And do it for yourself. And when you do it for yourself, just like when people go, here's a great analogy. I swear I'm going to pass it off to Jeff. Expedition 33, I'll use it as an example because it's about to win Game of the Year. The reason why that game was good is because every fucking person on that team loved what they were doing and believed in what they were doing. The reason why you can play some other like corporate slot bullshit and it feels like a soulless husk of a game is because people got up and went to work not knowing if they were going to get fired every day of the fucking week to work on a product that was largely put together by a marketing team to hit the broadest possible fucking group of people to increase the chances that they sell it to the most people to turn a fucking profit on a $400 million game. Mm-hmm. And they hated every fucking waking minute. They were excited to work in the games industry. They got their job at big company XYZ, and then like 3 years deep into this project, they fucking want to send themselves off the nearest house. And then there's Expedition 33. Apply that same logic to content creation. Do what you love, do it consistently, people will show up. You might not be a quadrillionaire, but you will eventually build a community, and the beauty of it is they will fucking stick with you in ways that game hopping and trend following will never produce ever. They will just leave your shit behind. That's my take on this now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like game hopping and or trend hopping will almost never work for somebody that's starting out. Like, you almost already have to have a large core. You got to have a large core to properly be able to execute that strategy, and that's the dream of most gaming content creators is not feeling like you've got golden handcuffs on and you're confined to one specific game or category where you can, just play what you feel like playing, and still have a large amount of success. Now, when you say, can you be successful? It all depends on on your definition of success. It's really that simple. If you're talking about, do you want to make millions of dollars, make it doing content creation over, your life of creating content, and have a work-life balance, it's probably not going to happen. It might. I mean, we see it all the time. There's artists, there's actors, there's content creators that are an anomaly, that a right place, right time, right niche, right sound, right whatever, you know, and they get lucky. There's always going to be those in every aspect of entertainment and art creation. It's just going to happen. But for the vast majority of people, success is a personal thing for all people. It's personal, and success to you might be after a long days of work, you being able to open up your favorite Warhammer figures and paint them and share them with the world. And there's people like a following of people, whether that's 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people that enjoy what you're doing and can experience your hobby and passion. And in doing so, maybe you make no money, but you get that social interaction with people and this connectiveness with people that fulfills you. That is success. You know, maybe you can end up making $500 a month off your content. Maybe that is a level of success that pays for your car payment, or maybe you make enough to pay for your mortgage. That might be success to you. Some people may need to make $500,000 a year before they consider it a success, or whatever. Whatever the case may be, it is all subjective, and it is all onto the individual. When it comes to work-life balance, I'm in the camp of, if you want to be at the top, like you want to be the 1%, right? Or the 1% of 1%, there is no work-life balance. It is work, grind, work, and then you trick yourself into having moments of balance. That's just it. Whether you want to be the top of a singer, actor, streamer, YouTuber, whatever the case may be, right? Mr. Beast didn't become the biggest YouTuber in the world because of work-life balance. PewDiePie didn't become the biggest YouTuber at one point because of work-life balance, right? Shroud didn't become the best shooter at Counter-Strike because of work-life balance, right? And for StarCraft, right? Give me a name. Fucking Cyril. Yeah. These guys didn't become the best StarCraft players because of work-life balance. It's actually the opposite. There's a level of obsession and a level of almost like autistic nature of like pure when I say autistic nature, it's like
Hyper-focus.
Hyper-focus. Thank you. Probably a better definition. Hyper-focus. I mean, to the point where it almost feels like your everyday life, your family, your friends, your health, your everything is nothing but a deterrent. It is nothing but it stands in your way of doing and being hyper-focused and obsessed over something. That's how the 1% of the 1% become that. You don't become that because you start your work you get a full 8-9 hours sleep. You start at 8, you end at 4, you spend time with the family and the kids, and everything's perfect. It just doesn't happen in almost every single industry in the world. It just doesn't happen. If you want to be at the top of the top of the top of the top. But here's the great news. You don't have to be at the top of the top of the top of the top in order to be successful, right? Success can be a whole variety of different things for many people. So to answer your question, it all depends on what your success, what you deem successful. If you're trying to quit your day job and live off content creation and you think you can do it with work-life balance, it ain't happening.
No.
And it's just not going to happen. There is a small, and I mean a small, like we're talking a lottery-sized ticket. Anybody can go to the gas station and buy a lotto ticket and win $100 million. But what are the odds of that happening? It is fucking so small that you may as well not even spend the money it takes to get the ticket, because you will try and try and try, and it will be an endless It'll be it likely won't happen. So this content creation is not for like full-time content creation is full fucking time. A lot of people think that, oh, I can quit my day job and all I need to do is make 5 videos a week and that's the show. Yeah, that might actually be the show, but the thing is what does it take to get those 5 videos? Can you be consistent? Have you built a big enough audience that you can sustain yourself off of 5 videos? And in order to get to that, what kind of work did you have to put into for all those years to get to the point where you can live off 5 videos a week? And can you come up with 5 great videos that capture your audience, that keeps the audience, that continues it to grow for years and years and years? Can you do that? And can you do it with work-life balance? Something tells me it's a no. But you can do it as a part-time, as a hobbyist. And if you have that mindset, maybe, just maybe, you do cash that lottery ticket and you strike gold on your hobbyist thing. And next thing you know it, you found success, massive success in a place that you didn't necessarily think was possible for you. And that's just that. I mean, it's happened to me. And my success is small. These fucking streamers make more money in 1 year than what I made in my entire career. I ain't the 1% of 1%. I may have been the 1% at one point. I ain't anymore. I'll tell you that. So, and I didn't have work-life balance. I'm still trying to figure that out now. And it's harder for me to have work-life balance if at some point I want to stop doing this unhealthily. So now I have to fucking work extra hard to put myself into a position that I have to rely on this, which also is not healthy. Bro, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm 39 in January. I've been doing this since I was 23. And here I am. I'm still going. There ain't no balance, man. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, it just is. You have to mold your life around your work and make that work. If not, you're going to be like everybody else and work until you're 65 if you're lucky. Most people now got to work till they're 70, 75 years old because the cost of life has just gone up exponentially. Inflation is just fucking wrecking our money and our progress. God only knows what young generations got to go through. You want to be a young 25-year-old making content? You want to have work-life balance? Good luck. And I think you should do it. I'm never going to tell somebody not to do it, but just understand what you're getting yourself into. Balance is bullshit. Trust me. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I was just like, just make it a fucking hobby, bro. Be passionate about it as a hobby. And if it pops off, fucking congratulations. You made it. Because like, the reason why I always suggest that is that, especially if they're younger, right? Like, if I think about how much time we put in to hit the level of success we had, if I had put that much energy and time into anything, even traditional, I'd probably be further ahead by a significant fucking margin right now. Was there a chance that content creation ended up being the thing that put me into like some sort of stratospheric fucking tax bracket? Sure. That didn't happen. And we put buckets of time in, and we were there from the start. So that's why I always say to people now, because it's even harder to get into it because of the number of people, especially YouTube, I always suggest just fuck streaming. Fuck it. Fuck it. Especially if you want any whatever the fuck work like that. And I'm not saying like if you're working a full-time job and then you're doing content creation as like a hobby, definitely fuck streaming.
Yeah.
Get really good at just being consistent about putting out YouTube content that's evergreen in a genre of something that you have a passion for. That is your best chance at turning it into anything that can generate money. And then you can turn the knobs up later if it seems like it's biting. Because it's really a fucking hellscape. It's really,
you nailed it. I would trade my streaming career for a YouTube one any day
Yes.
of the week. Every YouTuber that I know, and I know several, none of them really stream. They stream when they want to. That's it. It's like bread and it's like butter. That's the show. Imagine you're a YouTuber that is making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 a month, any of them things. Do you understand the amount of hours you would need to grind as a streamer? An unholy amount of hours to make that type of money. And you got to be on. You got to be on, bro. And you got to entertain 10, 12, 15 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week. And most people ain't even making remotely close to 100K a month, 50K a month from streaming obscene amounts of hours, bro. It just isn't happening. If you can build a YouTube channel and you can get that ad revenue flowing, there is nothing better than that, because you don't have to just wake up in the morning and know you got to go live for the next 8 to 10 hours and entertain people. And don't get it twisted. I enjoy it. I love my job. I'm grateful as fuck, but I'd be an absolute lion sack of shit if I didn't say I wished that I had really cultivated a YouTube following so that I didn't have to rely on being on all the time. I would much rather dedicate 20, 30 hours a week to making some of the best possible YouTube content I possibly could than to spend 50, 60, 70 hours a week grinding away, e-bagging people to subscribe to my fucking channel. I can't put into words. Again, I'm grateful, but if you are a part-timer and a hobbyist and you had to choose between streaming and creating VOD-like content on YouTube, I would go the YouTube route every single fucking time. Because unlike Twitch or Kick or even YouTube streaming, wherever it is that you're streaming, you can curate content on YouTube and find pockets and actually have algorithm work in your favor, and you can really start to understand it, and you can mold your content in a way that you cannot necessarily do in a live streaming format. And it's much easier to figure shit out than to hit the go live button and have 2 people watching your stream for months on end trying to figure out when's my time coming. You are fucking buried. And there ain't no algorithm and there ain't nothing on these sites that are going to push you. And there isn't a Shroud or a Ninja or a Peanut or a Maximus Black that is going to see you and raid you and put you on or anything like that. And guess what? Even when you get those things, it's a flash in the pan. That's all it is. It's 1 or 2 days of, oh my God, we made the streamer's day. He's so nice. Oh, he's going to be big someday. 3 days later, you're back to 3 viewers instead of 2. Go do it on YouTube. Figure out a great way to make engaging content on YouTube. Play the game. Study the SEO. Study the algorithm. Study. And then go that route. And then if you get traction, then what Adam said, you can get into doing some of the other stuff. Listen, if you want to stream, but don't get into streaming as a day one Andy thinking that you're going to start paying your bills on Twitch. It ain't going to happen, bro. It's hard for me to fucking pay my goddamn bills at this stage streaming on Twitch. And I've been doing this shit for 15 fucking years. What do you think is going to happen with you? It's tough. It's tough out there, man. Everybody's making content, bro. It's 2025. Everybody. Pets are making content. Your grandmother's making content. Everybody's making content.
It's so true. Mr. Black, who is the best Christmas singer and why is it Frank Sinatra? Also, what's the best Christmas song? I mean, listen, Frankie's good, but the true goat of Christmas music is Bing Crosby, and the greatest fucking song is White Christmas, and that's it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I think would be the best, and I don't think it's Frank Sinatra. I'm gonna be honest with you. Listen, man, there's only one song, one group that matters at Christmas, and it's NSYNC, and it's "Merry Christmas" by NSYNC.
Really?
They're goated.
And
They're goated.
happy holiday. Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, shit. Fucking hell.
Happy holiday.
Goated.
JJ, thanks for the $5 super chat, brother. Watching
Yeah,
from
thank
the
you very
oil
much.
fields of Texas.
Damn,
Love the
slang and
games and the
chain.
streams. Thanks for the craft and the fun, fellas. You know, I've been watching Landman. It's a great show. It's a fun show.
The fuck is Landman?
Landman on Paramount. Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay.
And he's
alive?
a landman on the oil fields. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's very alive. Show's
Okay.
kind of fire. It's a
Okay.
fucking fun show. It's drama. I'm here for it.
Second. What the fuck is that question? Zeus. What the fuck is that? What else we got here? Yeah. Liam asks, because again, this is American Thanksgiving. Do people actually like Thanksgiving turkey? It's so dry and it feels like trying to swallow sand without gravy involved. Am I taking
Who's
crazy
making your
pills?
turkey, bro?
No, the problem is that whoever's making your turkey needs to learn how to make turkey. That's the actual problem you have. Yeah, that's actually just the answer to your question. Are you taking crazy pills? No, you're taking bad turkey to the mouth.
Yes.
That's what you're doing. Fuck, Marry, Kill movie edition from the Blainer. John Wick, Interstellar, Lord of the Rings extended. Bro, what the fuck?
Oh my goodness.
Calm down, Satan. Calm down. Listen, okay.
Damn.
I've actually just watched all of these in the last 2 weeks. So
Damn.
I know my answer.
He's qualified.
There is 0 right answers to this, obviously. But for me, having just watched them all in 4K, glorious, HDR, spectacular, all of them, fire. By the way, the HDR 4K John Wick stuff is actually really fucking well done. Like, the grading in those films is insanely good.
I know mine.
I'm marrying Interstellar. I'm fucking John Wick. And I'm killing Lord of the Rings.
I'm the same one. I'm the exact same.
And
Listen,
it hurts because Lord of the Rings is fire, but like...
Yeah, but you know what, though? Lord of the Rings, to me, is fire. But I'm okay with Lord of the Rings dying. Because, you know, just like an old relationship that you may have enjoyed, it's okay to let go. You had that time. You know, not everyone or everything is meant to be in your life forever, but only meant to be in your life for seasons. And you know what? Lord of the Rings, it's been great. I haven't watched an extended version of Lord of the Rings in, I don't know how long, well over a decade. Well, I actually think the last time I watched it was with Kayla when we lived in our first apartment. So this was like fucking 15 years ago. Okay. And I'm totally fine with just never seeing that again. Because I've seen it a few times and I'm okay with that. John Wick is good for a good fucking. Am I trying to marry John Wick and see this shit every single day and whatnot? No. But hey, a little one night stand with a little John Wick in my life, I'm here for that. You know, if there's a John Wick movie that comes out every couple of years, every 3 years, hey, if I got to cheat, hey, I'm going to do it fast and quick with John Wick. Okay? If I'm going to marry something, I'm going to marry perfection. And I'm going to keep it a buck. Interstellar, it's the perfect movie. It just is. It's just the right amount of length, a right amount of story. Happens to do with space, imagination, wonder, thrill. Takes you through it all. Takes you through to excitement.
We got to see
Takes you
a
to
black
heartbreak.
hole.
Yes.
The way that we eventually, like, we took a mathematical model for that movie and we assumed that's what it looks like. And then years later, we actually discover that that's what it fucking looks like. That is the amount of big dick movie energy that very few films can possibly wield. The weakest part of the entire thing is a monologue about love. That's that's the low part of the entire film. Everything else is insane.
And it happens at the end. It happens at the end, so, you know, it's okay. I'm here for it. So, yeah.
Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite things. Is a favorite movie series. There's no two ways around it. And I only watch the extendeds. Like, I don't watch the original, like, theatricals. It's really, really good. Lord of the Rings is a fucking, like, hug. That's what the Lord of the Rings is. You turn that on once a year, you watch the fucking series, you ignore that the Hobbits happened, and you're just happy. Like, that's the Lord of the Rings. But the Lord of the Rings, the books, more important than the films. By orders of magnitude. As much as I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the best things ever put to film. Interstellar is just one of the best films I think ever fucking made.
Yeah. You and
personally,
millions of other people feel the same way, so.
Yeah. I like.
But I get it. Hey, Lord of the Rings to some people is like, you know, the Bible to Christians.
It's holy ground.
Okay? So, like,
it's true.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not here. That ain't it for me, right? That ain't it for me. Lord of the Rings just ain't. It's just not it for me, right? That to me is like the original trilogy of Star Wars or the original trilogy of Matrix. Those are my Lord of the Rings. Okay, I can appreciate Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, but I'm okay with never seeing Lord of the Rings again.
Yeah,
it's okay.
And the John Wick films are just fucking. It's just so fucking. They're just so entertaining. It's just disgusting the amount of entertainment value in John Wick. It's just those are films that we like. I could play them over and over again because
it's a good time. That's why we're fucking them.
Until somebody comes along and somehow manages to trump them for action films, and I don't know who the fuck's doing it. They're basically it. It went like Matrix, and then coincidentally, Keanu Reeves at the center of the two most important of the last 26 years. So Lord only knows when the next round's coming, but yeah. Another Mary Fuck Kill. This is Old Hollywood edition. I can hear Mr. Black's Google opening right now because the odds of him knowing more than maybe one of them, slim.
Okay.
I'm white enough to know all of them without having to look them up. All of these are prime, okay? Old Hollywood edition. Elizabeth Taylor. Do you need to look this up? Elizabeth Taylor.
No. I know that one.
Sophia Loren.
Don't know.
So that's Sophia Loren.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then we've got Audrey Hepburn.
That sounds familiar.
I would have imagined that's the one that you knew amongst all the three. That's probably the most well-known, generally speaking. This is really easy for me. I'm marrying Audrey Hepburn. She is, as a man, for me, like, if you were going to pick the archetype of, like, ideal, not necessarily, like, in how she looks, per se, but the combination of how she looks, how she carried herself, very intelligent, the whole 9 yards, like, that's the prototype is Audrey Hepburn. I'm fucking Sophia Loren.
Mm.
And Elizabeth Taylor is Sophia Loren was just super crazy hot, like wildly attractive woman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about any of these in detail, so I'm just going by what I
Just go by
see
the
here via
pictures. Yeah, yeah.
Google search, and I'm trying to look at them here in their primes. Yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Elizabeth Taylor, she got to go. So she did. Um, I'm marrying Sophia,
It always feels
and I'm
weird when we're
smashing.
talking about people instead of like
It's all good.
movies or something. It's always odd.
It's odd, but
Yeah.
hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm marrying Sophia, and we're smashing Aubrey.
There you go. We're almost to the end of her here. But guys, crushed it this week. Lots of participation. That's why I'm trying to reward you with some of these answers here. I'm not going to read the preamble from Marky Mark here, but the long short of it is there was somebody that he looked up to that he discovered was into some unsavory shenanigans, and that was disappointing to him. Understandably so. Have you ever been disappointed in one of your heroes or one of the people you looked up to? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For me, easy one.
Of course.
Hulk Hogan was my favorite wrestler growing up, as I idolized him as a kid. Nobody's perfect, but, some of the shit that came out of his mouth was a little wild. And I'm not just talking about dropping the N-bomb. I mean, that's not good, but, there was... The man had a penchant for lying that I wasn't a big fan of. As time went on, he just couldn't put the lie book down. He just kept going. Relatively harmless in that they was like stretching truths on how things were, what happened in the ring and yada, yada, yada. But it was like some of the other shit. I mean, he said some heinous shit in regards to like when his son got in that car accident and the other boy he just, so there was a lot of disappointment there. I would say that's the easiest one for me to reach for. Because otherwise, everyone else I've always looked up to, they've, I've not, thankfully, none of them have been involved or exposed for any shenanigans. So I guess I've kept those. But Hogan definitely, definitely stepped outside of the lines for me, unfortunately. And that kind of, it didn't completely destroy my ability to enjoy the wrestler Hulk Hogan, but it made it more difficult for sure. Like it's kind of like I'm sure there are people who were massive R. Kelly fans, and now every time they hear Ignition, they just want to fucking they just hate the fact that they want to sit there and Jay-Z.gif.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're fuck, now I hear the lyrics and I know who he is, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, R. Kelly was the first name that came up to me. Now, when you say look up to, I don't idolize or look up to virtually any celebrity. I just don't. But there are celebrities that I mean, maybe look up to in terms of the work ethic or like the craft, their ability to be.
You appreciate
elite.
their
I
craft.
can appreciate their craft. So yeah, I would say R. Kelly is the first name that came up to mind. And the thing is like there are tons of celebrities, like actors, actresses, musicians, just public figures that say and do things that I don't fundamentally agree with. And that could be on many different things. It could be on the political side. It could be on the just life itself and their outlook. Even just the way that they speak, that I don't agree with, but I don't allow that to, make it so that I shut them out completely or I can't enjoy their work. Because ultimately, and the thing is when it comes to somebody like R. Kelly, who has done the unspeakable, right, and has been convicted of that, now I've checked out. right? Because now it's to the point where I cannot. It's
I
hard
mean, he
for
was
me to
writing music
enjoy.
about it, for fuck's sake. At that
Yes.
point, like, it fucked
Like
it up for sure.
exactly, like everything that he's written about now, I dissect the lyrics more, and I start to go, whoa, I can appreciate he's super talented. I can appreciate, he's one of the kings of R&B, if not the king of R&B. I get all of that stuff, but like I can't enjoy it the way that I used to now. When it comes to actors and musicians, and if they say or Hulk Hogan, who went on a big racist tangent, right? Dropped a bunch of N-bombs. I actually didn't allow that to affect me to the point where I couldn't watch Hulk Hogan or enjoy what he's doing. For me, there's lines. And I think like once you get into you're a pedophile or you're a fucking, you prey upon children or young people that are that can't defend themselves or they don't have the mental, like that's where I check out. But like if you're into drugs or you've got issues, personal issues or anything like that, I typically don't allow that for me to change how I feel about someone. If you're going to beat the shit out of women and you're going to be an absolute complete piece of shit, I'm not going to support your endeavors, but I also understand that people are human and people all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all say things. We all do things. It just so happens that some people have the biggest spotlight on them, and their mistakes are there for the world to see. And I have the ability to empathize with people, but of course there are lines in the sand where it's like if you cross that line, that's it. I mean, you can rehabilitate yourself and you can say you're changed all this stuff, but once there's that line there and you've crossed that, I can't support you in any way. But when it comes to other things that most celebrities, when you see their issues, I don't allow that to. Some celebrity was in jail for selling drugs or fucking had some prostitutes or got their dick sucked, out in fucking Taiwan or somewhere, and they got caught up or they got caught with, whatever. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's your own personal business. I don't need to agree with it, but at the same time, I'm still going to enjoy your stuff. I'm still going to fucking watch your damn movie if I like you, and I'm still going to do it. As soon as you go to the R. Kelly route, that's it, man. Unfortunately, that's it. I don't have R. Kelly on my playlists anymore. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm out and about and fucking Remix to Ignition comes in, like I find myself, bopping a little bit, but then I realize it's fucking R. Kelly, and I'm like, well, fuck, there goes that. I still love Trapped in a Closet. Shit's a meme, but like I can't. It just hits different now. I can't. Everything's fucked. You know what I mean? So, and listen, there's tons of content creators like in the YouTube space and the Twitch space that like, I don't agree with what they're saying. I don't agree with what they say politically. I don't agree with what some of the stuff they say, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to take this hard stance where it's like, I fucking hate these people now because they don't think the way I think and they don't spread the message that I want them to spread. And everybody's got, they've got the ability to cut people out under any circumstance. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just old enough now that like I don't allow it to affect me. It's like, is this affecting me? I don't think so. I'm totally fine. If there's people are saying or doing things I don't like, I'll just tune out for that little portion and I'll be back. And that's that. So that's the way I look at it. But yeah, R. Kelly, I'm sorry, bro. That's it, bro.
Yeah, no.
That's it. No, that's it. It's over.
Roran said, I'm currently in a promotional process. Congratulations. Any tips you guys have for an oral interview? Watch the teeth.
There you go.
Other than that, I mean, really, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I've never been in that situation. I can only tell you what I would do, and the answer is that you got two paths right before you. You've got the path where you try to figure out, you're thinking, what is it that they want to hear, and tell them that. And then there's just be yourself and assume that there's a reason why you're getting a promotion, and so there's no reason for you to suddenly start acting differently, because if you do, then, you know, why are they promoting you in the first place? So I'd probably err on the side of the second, where I'd say there's a reason they're promoting me in the first place. There's probably no reason for me to suddenly switch up, how I'm talking with them or how I'm presenting ideas and whatnot. And so I think that is, I think that's how I would tackle it, even though I've not been in that situation. It just seems to make logical sense to me. But there are some people that would say, game the system a bit, try to figure out exactly what it is you think they want to hear and tell them that. The risk, of course, is that they figure out that that's what you're doing and it backfires. So, yeah, I would just go with fuck it. You're getting promoted for a reason.
Yeah.
Just keep doing you. Don't complicate it.
I'm with him on that. Thank you, Puffy Sheep, by the way, for the 10 gifted subs.
Bless. Thank you, Puffy. We're down to the last two, Mr. Black. Roarin, with a follow-up. It is Turkey Day in Murica. What is your top 3 favorite Thanksgiving foods? We've answered this before, but you know what? I'll answer it again. It might change every time, but 2 of them definitely won't. In order, the 3 most important things, which is funny because, it's a turkey dinner, but the 3 most important things, in order: stuffing, cranberry sauce out of a fucking can. Fuck your real shit. If it's not ribbed for her pleasure, I don't want to see it. And then butter, mashed potato. That's it. That's the holy trinity. I don't even need turkey. You could give me those 3 things, and I'm gonna fucking be a happy man. So those are the 3 for me, anyway.
I am going in order. Stuffing, number 1. If there ain't stuffing, this ain't Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, this ain't it. Stuffing. I mean, I love stuffing so much that as a teenager, I would just make stuffing and just eat stuffing. Like,
hell yeah.
Not even on Thanksgiving. I cook a box of stuffing and just fucking eat that shit. Stuffing. Number 2, mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes. And I gotta have sugar sprinkled on the top of that bitch once it's done.
Really? Sugar on the top of your mashed tater?
Right on top. I get a tablespoon or a teaspoon of sugar. Sprinkle that bitch right on top of the mashed potatoes. We're done. And then third, turkey with the gravy. I need to have the gravy. Got to be the turkey. And we always have ham, but the reason why I'm okay with that is because Kayla's parents do turkey, and I always get the turkey anyway. And Kayla's mom's actually good at making turkey, so I actually enjoy that. And Kayla's really good at making ham, so it just kind of works out. But stuffing, mashed potatoes, then the turkey, and it's gotta have the gravy. Gotta have the gravy. Those are my 3. But I'm with you. The cranberry, fuck off. And in fact, my mom had to tell Kayla at one point, stop with this other cranberry. Get the can. Just bring the can. I want to see plop that shit right on there. Get the can. You can slice it up into like little fucking, little can cubes of that. Give me that shit. Because that shit's delicious. Not everything needs to be fancy. No. Sometimes you need to go basic, almost poverty levels. Like we're talking like
stovetop stuffing and canned cranberry sauce.
There you go. Give me that.
Last question, Mr. Black. Sour apple. This is an interesting one. I'm going to let you start on this one. I'm interested in your thoughts on this one. Which is harder to go professional as a top gamer, capital G gamer, Mr. Black? Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2? And let's assume that Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2 were equally there were the equal number of people playing both, because obviously whichever one has more people has typically a harder hill to climb. So just from I guess the question becomes, which is harder to master, Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2? That's tough because they're different enough that it's hard to compare them directly.
I'm going to give a nuanced answer. I'm going to kind of cheat.
What you
I'm going
got?
to give a nuanced answer. I think StarCraft 2 is harder. What is the harder game to master in terms of there's more to it. So, you know, the unit compositions are bigger. It's much more fast. It's way more fast paced than Warcraft 3, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Warcraft 3 mechanically is the tougher game to master because there isn't as much quality of life improvements as there was in StarCraft 2. We're talking like hotkeys, location hotkeys. We're talking like, you know, you had to use heroes and there's a whole strategy with just the heroes and the farming and stuff like that. But I feel as though StarCraft 2 in general, if you just if you had to master something and you said which game would take the longest to become a god at, I think StarCraft 2 is the tougher game. I think there's much more variables. I think it's just faster paced. But I think Warcraft 3, because it's so dated, that mechanically speaking, there just isn't as much to do. So, you know, in terms of like how easy it is, how much easier it is in StarCraft, there's like a lot more hand holding. That's my answer. Roundabout way, StarCraft 2, but there's parts of it of Warcraft that I feel is harder to master personally.
Yeah. Here's how I'm going to answer this to start anyway. And then I'll try to get a better answer that's more specific to what they're asking about pro, like top professional style stuff.
Oh.
I'm
going to say StarCraft 2.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't hear that last part because, sorry to cut you off, but the thing is there's a lot more players playing StarCraft 2.
Well, that's why I was saying all else being equal. Like, that's why I've reduced it down to, like, which is hardest to master. Because, like I said, obviously, if there's more people, the pool is bigger, the more likely it is to be a pro gamer in it. But if you had the same number of people, that's why I changed the question a bit to compare it more directly between the two. I would say, this is how I would answer it in a anyway. I think that the skill floor in StarCraft 2 is lower, meaning it's easier to achieve a basic ladderable style in StarCraft than Warcraft. I think the skill floor is higher in Warcraft 3. I think the skill ceiling is higher in StarCraft 2. Because for the similar reasons you said, the key difference is that really you're talking about trading for me the difference between the two, if you had to find a way to compare them, is you're replacing the micromanagement of a hero or heroes in Warcraft 3 for the much deeper macro that StarCraft 2 requires over Warcraft 3. Because Warcraft 3 is more of a micro game than a macro game. There is obviously a macro to it, but the game hinges almost exclusively upon your ability to strategize at a battle level and be managing possibly multiple skirmishes and multiple heroes across a map at any given time. It's a much more micro-intensive scenario. You're not moving so much in Warcraft 3. Like every unit in because you don't have the same number of units. Every unit in Warcraft 3 is far more important than StarCraft 2. So you lose a unit in Warcraft 3 and it means something substantial. That can be true in StarCraft in the first 4 minutes. And then at a certain point, the number of units you need to lose for it to make a material impact because the macro game is different, goes up. And so I think the floor is lower for StarCraft and the ceiling is higher. I think it's harder to get a baseline competency in Warcraft 3 for playing the ladder than it is in StarCraft, but I think that the upper echelon, just by the virtue of how much extra stuff is going on late game in StarCraft, and by extension what you have to do against really good players, makes StarCraft more difficult in that regard. Now, the thing about like professional play is that it's very difficult because you could compare two sports, for example, that look like they're totally and are mechanically different from one another, and one could be perceived as being easier. Like fucking
like football and rugby.
Football. Well, no, I was gonna go even easier than that, or like even more base than that. Like fucking professional fucking shuffleboard, and then fucking golf.
Yeah.
And like mechanically, golf is almost inarguably the hardest sport, or one of the very small list of the hardest individual mechanical things that you can do consistently. And shuffleboard, not so much. However, that doesn't change. What matters is like, what is the competition? Like you can have at any given time, like the greatest fucking shuffleboard player to ever shuffleboard, and they set the bar. It's not the game itself anymore. It's the person playing the game now sets the bar. So like mastering shuffleboard, you could have two people master it, but like the difference between the top shuffleboard player and the second best shuffleboard player could be a cavern.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, it could be much closer. And so perceptually, it could be easier to be better at golf than it is at shuffleboard. Like imagine Michael Jordan still in the NBA. You got to beat Michael Jordan. Black Jesus on the fucking court. He's the pinnacle out there. When you ask the question, is it harder to be the best basketball player in the world or the best, fucking football player in the world? You're really asking, are you capable of being better than like this specific fucking person typically, or this team? That's different than have you mastered the art? Because basketball, you watch a bum bench warmer. Dude gets paid $250,000 a year to professionally use his ass as a heating device for the wooden bench and chairs in arenas across America and Canada. Okay? That's what they do. Actually, min contracts like fucking 1.2 million now or some crazy shit. They're getting paid a lot of money, but they are ass in a chair. They ain't even out of their sweats. They could be there in a suit. They're lawn ornaments. Okay? And you're thinking, fucking bum. All right? That guy could go out on the floor and hit with no defense, no nothing, could hit like 40 consecutive fucking three-pointers. These players have even the bums have gotten so close to what somebody would call mastering basketball. But the difference now is what's the gap between him and like fucking Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
And there's a famous
it's small
quote,
but big.
I can't remember what the player's name is right now off the top of my head, but there is who was like this, kind of a bench guy, and people would always make fun of him. And the quote is something like this: the difference between me, and I'm just going to pick another player, the difference between me and Kobe Bryant is infinitely smaller than the gap between you and me.
And me. Oh yeah. Way smaller. Way
smaller.
Like another, yeah.
Couple hundred people in the world play this professionally.
Yeah. It's the difference between a billionaire and a millionaire.
Yes.
Quite literally.
Huge gap.
And people, yeah. And if you looked at it from a money standpoint, like, yeah, this guy might be worth $500 million, but the Kobe Bryant might be worth $3 billion, or might even just be worth $1 billion. And that difference is, it may not seem like an obscene amount of money to or an obscene amount of difference to the average person that like can't even conceptualize what even $500 million is, let alone $1 billion.
Yeah.
But the guy at $500 million understands what the difference is between the $500 million and the billion. And it is substantial, even though they're both a substantial amount. But that difference, that gap difference, is crazy. And that's why some people get paid $50 million a season, and some people get the 1.2 million. Even that 1.2 million is on a whole nother stratosphere to even somebody at the top of their high school, or somebody that's out in college that's on the come up, that's doing their thing. The difference is so much. And a lot of it too can even be not even just the talent, it can be the mental, it can be the preparation, it can be the being ready for the moment. There's a lot of different things that and the name. There's just a lot of different stuff. So yes, I agree with that.
I will make a very specific reference for this question, because I just remembered this. Back when StarCraft 2 first popped off, and the pro scene was developing, people were switching from Warcraft 3 to StarCraft 2. Mm-hmm. And I remember a mini doc video thing that was covering one of Warcraft 3's best players at the time. His name was Moon. And the thing that was impressive about Moon was that he came into StarCraft 2 with the APM that he had from Warcraft 3. And I believe, if memory serves, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but his APM in Warcraft 3 hit around, at points, 400. 400! And it's because Warcraft 3 is a hyper micro... Yeah. This wasn't StarCraft, like, I'm bouncing around my hatcheries type thing. So, but yet, despite that, that didn't mean that he was just like crushing StarCraft 2. He ended up being quite good, but it's a different game entirely. But if you were to ask Moon, I bet you there'd be a similar thing. It's like who am I up against? What is and StarCraft 2 has a higher ceiling. Obviously, he has an advantage. If you can do 400 fucking APM in Warcraft 3 and you actually put your mind to it in StarCraft, you're doing some crazy shit. Yeah. You're doing some crazy shit. But like that's what you're really talking about, is who is the competition now? Because until you have like, it's why Brood War is still so crazy. The people who are still dedicating themselves to Brood War are peak fucking gamers. Mm-hmm. They're animals. They're doing shit that, like, if you took the top StarCraft 2 players and brought them to Brood War, no hope, no chance. They're fucked. The difference is, like, look at Flash. Flash on a casual just decided to show up to StarCraft 2 and fucked around a little bit and was fucking people up. We watched him live in person on the first show matches that he ever did. If memory serves, maybe I'm misremembering. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And like, so it's who it is at that point. So if I'm going to give you a straight answer, I think I'm going to say this. I think that StarCraft 2 is the harder game to master. I think that Warcraft 3 might be harder at the pro level, because I think that the pro scene for Warcraft 3 had the people that made it harder. Brood War is the pinnacle of all esports
peak
of all time. It is the hardest game. It is the hardest game to ever play professionally. It's the hard, even if you take the professional part out, mastering Brood War is just fucking insane. Nobody should do it. It's dumb. It's a fucking, the game runs like ass. It is just the least friendly thing ever. It's a horrible experience. But what people will tell you is when you get into it, then you hit that rhythm. Yeah, bro. And then you feel it, and you're in that fucking flow state. And then and like Jeff said, the guy who has $500 billion can look at the guy with $1 billion, and he understands. He gets it. Yeah. The guys who have gone out there, somebody like Artosis, who rages against the fucking screen for hours on end playing fucking StarCraft 2, StarCraft Brood War. And not just because he casted it, he understands when he sees these guys playing, his mind is being blown. Bro.
There's levels. Yeah, there's levels. And I mean, dude, even my career, right?
Yeah, you can look
I
at
was
him and go, fuck.
At my peak, I was a pretty fucking good StarCraft 2 player. Whatever people can say whatever the fuck, right? I had a specific play style, but I would fuck on 99.9% of this planet in the game. Just fuck on them like it ain't nothing. But it was that point. It was that point one.
Yeah.
That point, and I fucking knew.
Yeah.
Because I knew how much effort and time I put into it and how meticulous I was about very specific builds and getting those down to an absolute fucking science. But then I knew once I was up against Korean gods that my ability was mere mortal. And yes, I may scrape a game once every 10 games off some of the world's greatest players. But once they had a taste of defeat from me, this mere mortal,
they figured
it would never happen again.
No.
It would never. They would say, "Hey, you got me the one time. Congratulations. You can put that on your YouTube VOD. You can highlight that shit. Congrats. Now I'm gonna fuck you hard. I know who you are. I've seen it. I've been there. And guess what? You ain't got what I got. You ain't got the ability to adapt the way that I can adapt. It's over for you." It's over for you and your bloodline. Don't even think your son can do this. You don't even have the talent to teach him to get to my level. It's never happening. I'm Korean. Sorry, you're black. There's 4 of you that exist in this genre. Go away. That's what it was. You understand that there's levels to this shit. And there are levels. Straight up.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a tough question. But you know what? I still, listen. The beauty is that if you've even played them recreationally, the beauty is you can have a decent idea of just what these guys are doing, and that's what makes it fun. You see it, and you're just like, God damn, what the fuck is? How do you even?
How do you do that? How do you do that? I remember watching it even when I was in my peak in like 2013. Even when I was at peak, and then I got pretty fucking good again in like 2017, 2018, maybe even better.
You went on another run.
Yeah, I went on another run. But even when I watched professional StarCraft, which was rare, but when I did watch it, even I would watch it and go, wow, how? And they just do. It's the flow state, bro. They're on another. They have another gear, and it's a gear that like or 3, you know. And then when the gear goes up and they're against opponent that has the same DNA and they go up a gear, next thing you know, it's somebody finds another gear to go, and you go, how is it even possible? But they find a way. They're gods.
I fucking love it. It's crazy. Excuse me. On that note,
that's it.
That's all we got for this. Mr. Black has got to hit up some Black Friday month sales and
pray for me.
Do battle. We'll pray for you. Stay safe out there because, oh my God, dude, the roads, the people on the roads, it just keeps getting worse. I don't understand how, but it keeps getting worse. I mean, listen, I'm uncomfortable driving the roads now. I can't even imagine when M learns how to drive. Like, I don't like it. The shit's gone crazy. People got to get their shit together. Either way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys next week for more. Thank you once again for stopping by. Until we see you, stay safe out there. And peace.
Peace.